How you going, guys? Welcome back to video 91. So I'd like to thank, to be honest I don't even know who it is, but somebody left me bought another coffee, and they buy me a coffee page for me, so that's really cool. Thank you, appreciate that. I'm not sure who they are because it's like come through from an email that looks like it's like an industrial sort of type company, so it's been sent through, done through their system. So I don't actually know who it is, like it doesn't show up with somebody that's subscribed to the channel, if you know what I mean, or not that I can sort of see easy. So yeah, I'd like to thank them anyway. So I'm slowly getting a little bit of cash built up, so hopefully soon I might be able to put that towards, along with some teespring stuff, I might be able to put it towards maybe, hopefully I want to buy like a GoPro type sort of camera or a DJI action sort of camera, depending on cost and what's available, because I'm starting to notice that some of that stuff's not very easy to get here at the moment. Obviously just the lack of stuff coming in. And I wouldn't mind trying to buy maybe a lab type mic, because when that electric fence unit's on, it's quite annoying. So, and if I'm away from the phone or the camera, it might just help with that situation. I notice that sometimes I've got to boost the volume, and if that's on, it's even louder in the background. So I'm trying to avoid that. What else? Hopefully soon, it's fluctuating the light, stupid thing. Hopefully soon I might have some different content coming up. As I said in an earlier video, I want to try and build a rat rod. I'm still looking at bits and pieces. I'm chasing something for a chassis at the moment. Just trying to see what's out there. I've got onto a couple of things. I'm just trying to decide whether I'll go a chassis from like a mid-70s, some of the Holden Utes and stuff like that had a full chassis. I'm thinking maybe something like that, or if I can find something older, sort of like 30s or 40s or something like that, I might do that avenue. But then you're running into upgrading brakes, whereas the Holden chassis, even though it's not that skinny sort of platform, which was sort of what I was trying to think of building around, at least it's got decent brakes. But anyway, the other thing, what else was I going to do? Oh yeah, we picked up a second car a while ago with the clear coats buggered on it. I actually got it off my brother. It was just sort of like work car. He upgraded. We needed something second, so we just grabbed it. It was cheap, and mechanically it's good. But yeah, the clear coat on it's buggered, so I want to try and tidy that up at some point. So I'm just basically going to scotch brite it back and either rattle can clear it, or just get some cheap clear and blow it through my gun, and just do a quick video on just how to basically get something like that. If you want to just clean it up and tidy it up, and that might make the car worth a few more dollars, you know, if you wanted to flip it on. It also needs the driver's seat padding replaced, or the whole seat replaced. So I'm going to try and see if I can track down a better front seat for it. And if the upholstery's not the same, then I'll strip it down and swap the upholstery out, because the upholstery in it's actually not worn through or broken, if you know what I mean. But it's just the padding's starting to collapse in it, you know, because it's in like a 1999 Mitsubishi 3-litre V6 front wheel drive. They were called Diamantes here, but I think they were Magnas in Australia. They might have been called something else elsewhere in the world. I know Japan, I think they were Diamantes and Invaders and all sorts of funny freaking names, you know what I mean? So yeah, so that to do a couple of little videos on. I may have to change the steering rack in the Mondeo shortly. I'm trying to get that through a safety check here that we have to do every 12 months or 6 months, depending on the age of the vehicle. So I've got a couple of things I need to do to that. So I'm going to try and get it through without changing the rack, because it's weird. It doesn't seem to be as bad as it used to be, but it feels like when you go to turn, sometimes it almost wants to bind up and then comes free. What seems to be semi-okay at the moment. So I'm going to try and, I've got to get a windscreen replaced in it. I think I have to put a couple of tyres on it because it really needs a wheel on it because we've changed the rack ends and fricked around with it so much that it's, unfortunately, I haven't had time to get a wheel on it. So it really needs a proper one, because I'd sort of just keep winding it in a couple of turns every now and again because I've seen it was still wearing the tyres in. And it's probably not too bad now because it doesn't seem to be tearing to pieces, but it's sort of worn the insides off the tyres enough that they're probably going to throw it out for a safety, or the amount for a safety, so it probably needs a couple of tyres and a windscreen and possibly the steering rack replaced. So I'm hoping not the rack. I will change it, but it's got to let the subframe drop down, and it's one of those cars that's just a bitch to freaking work on when you're going to do anything major. So yeah, that's possibly some videos coming up, and then hopefully this in the next couple of months, hopefully we'll get some freaking body work on it. If I don't keep finding some of these little jobs to do, and then hopefully might get some of these other vehicles in here, like the Holden Ute, and maybe Matt's 65 Impala to do a bit of work on that. We'll see how that all rolls together, hopefully over the next few months leading towards Christmas sort of type thing. We'll get into some of those hopefully, and hopefully with the warmer months coming, yeah, it's a perfect time for getting this into paint stage, because prime opportunity when it's warm, because we don't get stupidly hot weather here, but it can still get into the mid to late 30s. So if we can get some real good, nice, calm, warm days in the mid to late 20s and get this cleaned up and get a half-wide booth of some description set up in here, at least then if we've got ready for this we can get it painted. So either that, we farm it out to somebody else for them to paint it, but hopefully I'm going to paint it. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that's coming out shortly. So anyway, I'll get back into making the rest of this bits for this bloody clamp. I've actually been away a couple of days. I sort of come in here partly for Monday, and I don't know, I was in a real funk. And I went home mainly because my laptop, the screens died on it, I think from all the iron filings. I had a real bitch with my phone. I had to blow that out for about half an hour to get it to record properly the other day. Yeah, so I think it's killed the screen. Fortunately, that laptop's actually still working. I managed to get to hook up to the computer screen at home, and I managed to get it to boot up and actually get into it. So yeah, if I can just get another screen for it, or I get just an external screen, I'll set it up like that. So yeah, I don't know if I can actually get away with removing the actual screen off it. I was thinking about doing that. I'll see. I'll do some research on that and just get rid of the screen off it and just have an external screen. It means I'll lose the camera, and I think possibly the Wi-Fi's in it, so I probably mightn't be able to do that, but I just thought about it because it's not worth replacing the screen in it. The laptop's pretty much junk anyway, but it's just handy to have here so I can view photos bigger, and I can run the internet off it. It's okay, but it's old and slow, and it's not worth upgrading. Now, if the screen wasn't broken around with the hinge and that wasn't broken around the thing, and the screen hadn't failed, it possibly would have been okay to put maybe an SSD in it and speed it up a little bit. But anyway, so I'll get on to finishing drawing this next piece of the bracket out to bolt to the body. That's why I started making that. So I started just drilling some holes and laid it out. So I'll get that done and get it made, and I'll keep my phone away from it a bit because yeah, I end up, as I said, all these metal filing shavings that are on the ground here just played absolute hell with my phone and obviously the laptop. Yeah, I just had them too close, or in amongst the dust and the mess, so I've learnt that lesson. Yeah, if you're doing a lot of grinding, you keep your camera gear and your phone and your laptop away from it. Because normally I'm not doing a horrendous amount of that, not to the level I've been doing recently. If I'm just doing a little bit of grinding or a little bit of whatever, and I'm halfway close, but yeah, I've learnt that I obviously need to keep my gear a little bit further away and maybe zoom in or something like that, which is what I want to do if I can get a better processor from the computer and I can get a decent action camera. I'll start recording stuff in 4K, so if I do need to zoom in, it's not degrading the video quite so much, but it just takes power to render videos in 4K, and it takes a lot of storage space too, so that's the other thing I'm fighting with at home, because I've already put another 3 gig drive in the computer and taken one of the other ones out with some older footage and just left it out. Well, I've actually still got it hooked into the system, but I haven't got enough ports to plug in 5 or 6 drives, so I've only got enough for 4. But it's still there, so I can unplug and plug in if I need to. But yeah, that's another thing I'm having issues with, is I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with a lot of my not older footage, but the working footage. Do I keep it? And that's one thing I was actually thinking about, was maybe doing a Patreon page, and just having it sort of like $1 or $2 or $3 off, sort of $1, $3 and $5 sort of type thing. But I put a lot of my working footage on there, not sped up, because a lot of them I am talking amongst the video footage, but yeah, you don't get to see some of that so much, and me saying what I'm actually doing. You're just sort of seeing what I'm doing. So I thought maybe for some people that want to know a little bit more knowledge and are prepared to sit through and listen to 40 minutes of me just waffling shit as I'm working, yeah, that might have the opportunity to do that if they see something they actually want to know a wee bit more about what I was doing when I was doing it. Because sometimes I do that. I'll be working, I'll just be telling what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But when I speed the footage up, you just can't hear or see it, because it's, if you're speeding up, a couple of 100 times the speed of what it normally means, so you're getting 40 minutes of footage in a minute. You can't hear a bloody thing, except for just the high-speed jibber-jabber, if that. Sounds like a chipmunk on steroids and cocaine and everything else all at once. Yeah, he's on turbo, super turbo. Anyway, so yeah, I'm thinking about maybe doing that and posting a bit of that sort of stuff up, or maybe a Patreon page or something like that. I don't know. It's just a thought, because I keep running out of storage on my computer, and it's a pain in the butt. I keep all the raw footage, and I'm also keeping the file that I'm putting to YouTube, and it taking up a lot of space. So I was thinking of maybe putting sort of a more important raw footage maybe up on Patreon, so people can go and access it, and also gives me a place to store it, and then I can actually delete a lot of some of the raw footage that's not quite so important off my computer, and just keep it a bit more fresh, so I'm not having to buy freaking drives all the time, because it's a pain in the ass. It's unfortunate. It's just an evil of doing YouTube. You have to try and figure out somewhere to keep your footage all the time, which is a pain. But anyway, I'll stop waffling and I'll get working. Right, this is where I sort of got to the other day. I sort of planned this all out and then started drilling it out, and I think I went home slightly early for lunch because shit was annoying me. The cold breeze was blowing in there. That was part of the reason why I went home, because I had the door open. It was a nice sunny day like that, but it was a little bloody mean breeze blowing in there, and it was driving me nuts. I was cold, and I went home and lay down on the couch in the sun, and yeah, I didn't get much further after that. So yeah, we'll get this done anyway. Right, before I go have some lunch, I'll sort of show you where I'm at. So I can just drill that drill bit that's in the drill press down through here, and sort of just, if I just skim the edge so you can sort of see the edge bulging, it leaves me with about that much. I need to flatten it off and grind it back and whatever a bit more, make it nicer, but I will be bolting, well, or riveting that to this side. So like, it doesn't matter if it's not 100% perfect in the back. I've got to shape this and cut it down a bit more and all that sort of stuff. And fortunately, because that bit of steel was thick enough, I've got 2 out of 1, which is quite handy. So yeah, I'm sort of part way through getting this one to the point where it's possible to put it on there, and then we can sort of mock it up. I may drill this hole out bigger, but I may grind this down smaller too. That's a 1/2 inch hole in there at the moment, but I might go out to 9/16 or even 5/8 just to give it a wee bit more. It's got all this weight on it. That kind of has, but it hasn't. But I'm just thinking if it is down, probably not, the top's going to be down a lot, but I was just thinking maybe a little bit heavier, because this is 1/2 inch through here. But I'm just wondering, maybe make this one a bit bigger. I don't know. It might be alright. 1/2 inch might be alright, because that has got like a piece, you know, like a spacer on there too. But it might be alright. We'll see. I can make it 1/2 inch for a start off, and if we decide to make it bigger, I can put something bigger through, and it's not hard to drill that out, you know, and open it up a couple of sizes sort of thing to 5/8 or 9/16 or something, just something a little bit more significant. But that's where we're at. Righty guys, so this is how this bracket works. This is, the other one of this is clamped in the vise. 2 rivets go through there like that to hold it in. That's obviously that piece. This would have a piece of sprung steel wire in here, or some rod, or whatever I work out to use eventually when we get it finished. So that comes up, that drops down, the hood comes down, or the roof comes down, put that back up and clamp it back together again. So that's how that all works and why I'm making it. Actually, Danny from DJ Retro Custom said, why didn't I cast it? Because they originally cast on. There's not a foundry that's really close here. Because of the lockdown, nobody's really working. And again, there's nobody profile cutting down here. Well, there is, but there isn't. A lot of stuff you got to get profile cut a long way away, and really, it's, you know, okay, it's taken a bit of time to make, but it was fun making it. Just time consuming, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, look, I would have been damn sight faster to get a profile cut, and then I could just finish it, and all that sort of stuff. But it shows what you can make with an angle grinder and a drill press, basically, and a hacksaw and a few files. It's amazing what you can make and get a good result. Okay, this is not finished by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just about finished the first one, and because the steel was thick enough, I ended up with 2 of these brackets, just making the one. I worked out, okay, that's going to work. So yeah, I'll just pull this off there. So that's what I've got that made there. The rivets will go through here. I'd like to drill this out so I can get this one in a little bit flatter and a bit longer, but it's not going to matter. These will be steel riveted on. This will be a steel pin rivet through here too, of some description. That's why I've got a bit of 8mm rod there, which is the same as what this is, so we'll probably rivet that over on the ends when we do this. And this wheel will be with sprung steel, I think spring steel wire loop in there, and that's why this is slotting here, so hopefully we can make it and weld it together, and then we'll probably have to open this out to put it in there. But yeah, that's basically how that works. It's pretty simple. It's just cam, and basically it should sit there as long as that bit of loop's tight enough. It should be just enough to pull it over, and it'll be tight to pull down. and it should lock itself down. And I think it is going to work because it sort of gets to that point there and it's quite stiff, so if that loop is the right length, when I make it, it will snap into place quite nicely, I think. It'll be just a matter of playing with it. I may have to alter a few little bits and pieces, but it should work all right, and that's getting looser and looser because it's just a bit of wire, but you get the point. So that's cool. Righty guys, so what I'm trying to do at the moment is I've got one sort of half-boy completed. So what I want to do is try and work out where to drill the hole. I've got this piece of timber clamped here. I've measured what the distance is in the photos I can see back to here, and I've pretty much from this point and this point on the same on the other side, and this distance is about the same. So I'm just trying to get a rough idea where I think this pin will be, if you know what I mean. It sticks out of the body to clamp it onto. The main reason why I've got this here is so I can get a square parallel, but it also gives me a distance down, because it's the distance from here to here on both sides of the body is about the same. I might just have to, I was going to say I could have a quick measure to the ground, but the fenders are kind of in the road, or the guards are in the road. The stick's not quite long enough on the way, if you know what I mean. But just looking at this measurement here, if I go to the nearest 100 millimetres, it's about 15 or a little bit over that millimetres down in the body. And if I do the same on here, it's about the same, 15, 16 millimetres, so it's close enough. And it'll give me a square drill on the angle. Now I'm thinking the rivets that are on around here that hold the canvas top on, because I know on the body, the doors, on a couple of them, it doesn't actually, I don't know if you can see, on the door, this door anyway, because this is original metal, there's a couple of like rivet, they're not wouldn't say the rivets, they're more like these things, they're little things that stick out that you can clip an eyelet, I suppose, over. Well, assuming that they would be all around here too, they're going to have to be re-drilled in, obviously, later on. But so that tells me that when I want to look at the photos, that those eyelets are in this, I'm guessing. So, and there's probably, I don't know, half an inch of canvas below, or thereabouts. Half an inch, 9/16 of an inch, so about 13 or 14 millimetres, maybe a little bit more than that, hanging down below it. So if I allow for that, so if we're saying the centre of that, and then half an inch below that, so we're saying that the canvas top is probably hanging about where that black line is that I just drew, and then you've got the round hole of the body of the thing through here. So if I even if it's you can't really hang that because it's not plumb, but we're talking, yeah, like to put a hole in here at this angle, basically. And same on the other side. It's awkward because I can't really get a square, but we can. I think I have got a short level somewhere. I can hold this on here. Get me golf. where you need 2 people. So somewhere down that line is where I need to put my centre, in theory. So what I'll do is I'll work the rest of it out and I'll come back and I'll drill the hole and then see if I can find, I'm probably going to have to buy a couple more bolts, some nice big long ones that I can cut the end off or something like that, or some, I'm still undecided whether I want 1/2 inch bar or something a little bit bigger, but we'll go with that. We'll start off at 1/2 inch. I can always drill out bigger, you know what I mean? So I'll just allow myself to come down a little bit, and that'll be where the centre of it is. So I'll come back and I'll do that in a minute. Right, I've got a pilot hole started, so now I'm going to open it out to 1/2 inch. This is a bit scary, this shit. It's fucking, you only get one shot at it, really. Screw it up, it's not really that easy to fix. It is, but it's not. It's not ideal to fix anyway. Right. Not ideal. Bolt or whatever we're going to need to go through that. Quite long. I'm going to find something long enough to poke through there to at least put a clamp on that, and then I have to work out something to put on, screw on the inside, and then hold that steady so these don't flop round, if you know what I mean. Right. Right guys, so I've got this mocked up here, just loose. I got like a bit of threaded rod in there. It's not quite the right size and I can't clamp it on it. But I've just got it sort of, I've got this on there and clamped up with a bit of wire. It's kind of holding there. Just to get a feel, I've still got to take the ends off these things here a bit. But I think that's going to work. I think we're heading in the right direction. I'm not sure. It feels like it's trying to pull one way, but I don't know if it's this stupid thing here because I haven't finished making the other side, obviously. I've got the hole in here now ready for the other one when I get it made, or get it finished made. I've only got one bit made, or half of one bit made, but so yeah, this is, you know, how it works basically. You drop that down and then lift it up, so yeah, and that just holds it all together. Obviously to make a proper wire for it, but I'm guessing that would slip on and off, so I have to open that up to accept the rod, but that works quite nicely. And I'll have to make a steel bracket in here and weld the rod onto it, and obviously anchor it in here fairly strongly. I'll probably bring it around quite a bit, pull a piece of steel around and shape and bend it and strengthen it up and anchor a bit of rod into it, and yeah, poke it out obviously. So yeah, I think we're on the right path here. It's just a matter of getting this all set up. I'm guessing that's sort of where it fits. That's sort of what it shows me, the directions and the measurements and all that sort of stuff. So I'll have to compare notes now that I've sort of got it sitting in there. I'm going to actually put the top back up so it's not putting pressure on here without it being attached really nicely, just in case it damages anything. But that's cool, looking good. Righty, so the top back up now. So obviously, unfortunately, this doesn't grab onto that, and I haven't got a bolt in it. So, but it's sort of where it's got to sit. But I said I want to cut this off and round it off, and I might do that very shortly. Get this a bit more fine tuned before I do actually make the other one, because that's some bits I might be able to just skip on the next piece, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's cool. Tomorrow I'll get a good length 1/2 inch bolt, or a bit of 1/2 inch rod. See if I can get some 1/2 inch rod. If not, I'll just go up a size and I'll just draw this out slightly bigger. It won't matter. That's what I want it to be. So yeah, and then when I get the other one complete, they sit on there. And obviously clamp on there fairly tight. So hopefully this works, and I think it should be pretty good, pretty strong. And also just need to round these edges off a little bit more, and I'll probably take a bit more thickness out of this because it's a bit thick. But it's just, a matter of just fine tuning. I'd like to know what this weighs compared with the hunk of steel that's left, because I'm probably going to use most of it. Be interesting to know. But yeah, that works. I'm pretty happy with how it works. I reckon I actually might get away with just some normal rod on here. Just make a decent loop. It's nice and tight. Get it on there tight, and weld it, and then maybe even just heat treat it and make it a bit, I don't know, more rigid, if you know what I mean. So it's a bit harder, and then it won't maybe flex out or straighten. But we'll just see. Because I can imagine that rod, like this sort of steel or spring steel rod, will be a bitch to work with. But it's all good. Yeah, so it goes on there like that. That's cool. We'll add it on. I wish I had some way of holding it there. I probably do, but it's a bit freaking loose. Probably just get a pair of vice grips and just poke it here. So you can't really see the vice grips, and just point it in the right direction, maybe. Take a couple of photos. Alright guys, so I'm going to call it there for the night. I'm just trying to get myself sorted out here so I can maybe try and clamp it on properly, but I'll try and get some 1/2 inch rod or something tomorrow morning. I'll just take this grinder out of the vise. Just trying to grind something, but hold the grinder in the vise, not the other way around. So yeah, anyway, we'll see you in the morning. If not on this video, it'll be on the next one. Alright guys, cheers.